Welcome to a special webinar that we're having. Jeremy Petty, who is social media marketer extraordinaire, has agreed to do a special webinar to help prepare you for your e-commerce campaign. This is called How to Create a Revenue Generating Google Ads Campaign for Your E-commerce Store. It is part 3 of a 5-part series. We've already had 2 of them, and we're looking forward to listening to the next 3. As I said, this is being presented by Jeremy Petty, and it's kind of unusual. This is not a slideshow. This is going to be hands-on. You're going to see exactly what he does, where he clicks, what he fills in, and what it all means. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording. You will not receive the slides that Jeremy is using because he's not using slides. I'm Diane McKeever, the chair of the Education Committee and moderator of the webinar. I want to take a few minutes to tell you about SCORE, and then Jeremy will start his presentation. So SCORE is a nationwide nonprofit organization that is an independent resource partner, but part really of the Small Business Administration. We offer free confidential business mentoring both in person and online. I just had a session with a new client, and she kept saying, but it's free, it's really free. How do you pay for things? I said, we're all volunteers and we want to give back. So yes, it's all free business mentoring. There are over 300 chapters nationwide. Our chapter, and I'm very proud to say our chapter is an amazing chapter. We have nearly 90 volunteers and has served Manatee and Sarasota counties in Florida for more than 50 years. And our chapter was recently recognized as a Diamond Chapter of Excellence for mid-sized markets, which is the highest award that any chapter can receive. Since 1964, SCORE has assisted over 11 million clients, and we can help you. If you have a small business, please go to minnesota.score.org and apply for a mentor. Wherever you are in your business cycle, we can help you. If you're in the pre-startup, you're thinking about an idea, then we can help you to get to the next phase. If you've opened a business and you'd like to make it more profitable, we can help you. We can help you if you're in business and you just want to grow your business, and we can help you at that final part of your business when you're thinking about selling or closing it. So please apply for a mentor. You will not regret it. Our website, minnesota.score.org, is where you would go to request a mentor. There are a couple of buttons that you could click. Either place will get you there. If you want to find a workshop like this and others like this, then click on Take a Workshop and you'll see them all listed. If you want to look for podcasts that we have recorded or other resources that are in our libraries, just go to our website. It's very easy to navigate and you'll be able to find everything that you're looking for. Lastly, I want to thank all of our sponsors and community partners. They're the people that help keep the lights on, and we really appreciate their support, their financial support that enables us to bring you all of these webinars and other activities. So without further ado, Marketing in the Digital World, Part 3, How to Create a Revenue Generating Google Ads Campaign. I am going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to turn this over to Jeremy Petty. Thank you so much for making yourself available, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you, Diane, for that awesome introduction to SCORE. And welcome everybody to this sort of new format that we're trying out today. Like Diane said, this is going to be a live training, so I'm actually going to go into Google Ads. I'm going to go through the whole process of creating a campaign, and I'm actually going to be using one of my own companies as a guinea pig. Let's see, can you guys see my screen, Diane?
That looks good. You
Perfect.
can maximize perhaps even.
Alrighty, so this is just an overview of a campaign that I ran about a week or two ago. What I decided to do was, again, I'm using one of my own e-commerce businesses as the guinea pig here. And I created a new account because my primary account has tons of campaigns and ad groups, and I didn't want to be too overwhelming today. So just for this webinar, I created a new account to run a campaign just to show you, how effective it can be, how successful it can be, and also that it doesn't take a lot of money to actually make money in Google Ads. So the company in question here today is called Pets on Socks. It is a website that allows users to come in here. They can choose socks or blankets or puzzles, mugs, face masks, and they can upload a picture of their pet and will actually take their pet's face and put it right on the product. So it's a really fun holiday gift item. We make the majority of our money in the holiday seasons. And so, this is the time where we're ramping up all of our advertising efforts. And when I was doing this, I had the idea that, hey, this would actually be a really good idea to share with all of the SCORE clients out there who own and run e-commerce businesses to try and increase your guys' revenue. So just to go back into Google Ads here, I want to go through some of the statistics of what I was able to accomplish in a week using the methods that I've sort of created over 10 years of doing this. So the first thing that I wanted to point out is that you don't need a lot of money to have a successful campaign. I know a lot of business owners get a little bit intimidated. They think they need, $1,000 or more to make any good money out of an ads campaign. But you can see up here that I set my budget to about $8.50 per day. So that means I'm only spending about $250 a month for this specific advertising campaign. And you can see here I had 56 clicks to the website in this week. I had a click-through rate of 13.63%. I had 17 recorded conversions, so I actually didn't set up my conversion tracking for the first couple days, so I had missed out on about 3 or 4 sales. And then the overall cost for this week was about $71.55. Now, I do want to talk about the click-through rate here before we begin, because this is a statistic that holds a lot more information than what's being shown on the surface. So initially, a click-through rate is just a ratio of how many people saw your ad versus how many people clicked on your ad. So upfront, that's what that ratio means. But if you dig a little bit deeper, what this is really telling you is how effective your ad is versus the keywords that we're trying to target for the ad. So how relevant is your ad content compared to what people are actually searching for inside of Google? So just to put this into perspective, if you Google the average click-through rate for Google search ads, you're going to see that the average click-through rate is anywhere between 1.9% and 3%. So the fact that we're, sky high here at about 13.5% means that our ads are performing extremely well. So with that, let's go ahead and start creating a campaign. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the all campaigns up here. And if you don't have any campaigns, it will probably just put you right into the creation of a new campaign. So we're going to click on this button here. And now I'm going to make some choices here that kind of seem counterintuitive. But because I've been doing this for so long, I sort of know the ins and outs of Google advertising. And so if you just follow along with everything that I do, you can expect your ad campaign to also perform pretty well. So initially, especially if you're trying to sell products, your first instinct would probably be to click here on sales. Well, essentially all this is doing is you're telling Google what your goal is, and then Google's going to try to guide you through the process based on your goals. But I don't want Google telling me what to do. I want to tell Google what to do. So I like to try and set up everything as manually as possible. So I'm actually going to come down here and create a campaign without a goals guidance. And then I'm going to click on the first option here, which is a search campaign. And then from here, this kind of gets stuck, so we have to hit continue. It's going to come up with another box that says select the results you want to get from this campaign. Again, you don't have to check anything. All this does is it kind of gives you recommendations when you actually create your campaign and have it running. And sometimes those recommendations are kind of useless. And I'll kind of explain that in a minute. And next, what we want to do is we want to name our campaign. So usually this is the marketing campaign that you're running. So if this is going to be your year-long advertising campaign, your sort of general campaign, I would name this either, general ads, or if we're being more specific, we want to run Black Friday ads. So I can just name this Black Friday. And we're going to go ahead and hit continue. And from here, this is where we set our budget. Usually the way that I like to set budgets is on a 4-week cycle. So that's an even 28 days. So if you have, let's say, a $250 budget, you divide that by 28 days, you're going to get something like 8.9. I like to keep it around in 50-cent increments. So I'll set it to $8.50. A bigger budget will mean bigger returns. But for the purposes of this demonstration, again, I'm just showing that you don't have to have a huge budget in order to actually make money. Now, the next thing, and this is where some counterintuitiveness comes in, is, what do you want to focus on? Well, we're trying to sell products, so we think, okay, I want to focus on conversions. But what we're doing here is we're setting our bid type. And if we set our bid type to conversions, Google is going to try to connect our ads with the people most likely to convert. The thing is, though, is that because this is a new campaign, we don't have any data in our data set here in our campaign to tell Google, hey, these are the types of people who are converting on our ads. So if we start off doing conversions, there's no data to give Google. So Google's just going to go out and try and figure out who's the best type of person, to show your ads to. The other reason I'm not going to choose this is because if you're bidding for conversions, you want a cost per conversion, essentially, you're going to end up paying a lot higher for your cost per clicks. Well, when we're starting out here, we want to focus on just trying to get as much traffic as possible, because later on we're going to get extremely specific with our keywords and our ad groups and everything. So we don't really have to focus on this yet. We want to send as much traffic as we can to our website with our given budget so that we can start to collect as much data as possible. So instead of clicking on anything here, I'm actually going to come down here to this blue link where it says select a bid strategy directly, not recommended. I'm going to actually click on that, and I'm going to go to maximize clicks. So what this does is, again, it uses what your daily budget is, and Google will place your ad as high as possible while spending the least amount as possible. So we're trying to send as much traffic to our website per day based on our budget. With this compared to setting it for conversions, you're probably going to get 2, 3, even maybe 4 times as much traffic to your website with the same budget. Now here you can set a maximum cost per click if you want. I prefer to just leave this blank, and then we're going to hit next. So because we are running search ads, we don't want our ads to show up in our display network. So we're going to uncheck that box. And then the next thing we need to do is set our location. So this is where geographically we want our ads to show up for. Now I ship throughout the entirety of the United States. International shipping right now is a mess. And I want to make sure that my customers are going to be getting their stuff before Christmas, before the holidays come in, because again, it's mostly gifts. So the last thing that I want is somebody overseas purchasing it for the holiday season and it not showing up for another, month or two. If you are wanting to get a bit more specific with your targeting, you can click on enter another location and then click on advanced search. And what this does is it allows you to actually type in where you want your ad to show up. So let's say, if we just want Florida, we can type in Florida and we can target it and it'll outline. Let's say we want to do a specific county. So we can just type in Sarasota, find Sarasota County here. Or we can even get in a little bit more specific using zip codes. So let's say 34242, which should be siesta key. And so we have multiple levels of locations that we can actually target using Google Ads. So, we can hone in on zip codes, we can go bigger with cities or counties, full states, all the way up to countries. So if for instance, you only want to target, let's say, the East Coast, you would have to go in and actually type in all the states on the East Coast that you would want to advertise to. But in this instance, I want to show my ads throughout the entire United States. And then everything else here, we can kind of skip over and go to next. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to rename my ad group. So personally, what I like to do is I like to create an ad group for each individual product that I have. So if we go back to my website here, this is sort of our flagship product. This is the one that I want to create an ad for. And so this is, it's called Dogs on Socks. This is, like I said, this is our best seller. It's our flagship item. So I'm just going to grab that product name and I'm just going to paste it in right here. Okay. And again, this is a little counterintuitive, but what we're going to do is we're going to skip over keywords and we're going to skip over the ads here. And the reason for this is because we don't really know what keywords we want to target yet. And I don't want to sit here and manually have to type in 40 or 50 keywords because it's just, it takes way too much time and it doesn't make that much sense, right? So I'm going to skip over this for now and I'm going to skip over the actual ad creation and I'm going to hit next. Now it's going to ask me if I want to create some ad extensions. Again, I want to skip this for now and just click on next. So we're going to see some scary red boxes here like, oh, you need to fix this, you need to fix this. It's okay. You can skip those and just hit publish campaign. It's going to say, hey, you can't run ads if you don't have any keywords or you don't have any ads. You need to fix those. It's okay. There's a reason for this. And I'm going to hit publish. So right now, what you're seeing here, this is actually a graphical glitch with Google Ads. It happens all the time. Basically, we should see our campaigns or our ad groups for this campaign listed here, but instead what we see is this blue box, and it looks like there's something being cut off here. And all we have to do to fix this is just refresh the page. It usually takes a few seconds to refresh. Sometimes you will get a red box that pops up at the top that says Google's having some trouble loading content right now. Please try again later. So you do have to kind of sit there and wait for a minute or two. Sometimes it happens because there's just a connection issue between you and the Google servers. But most of the time, if you just refresh the page, that goes away. So now we can see that blue bar is not there. We have a graph up here now. We've got our ad groups listed here. And we're ready to move on to the next step. So what I like to do now is, again, I'll go through all of my different products and create ad groups for every single one of my products. And so you can do that by making sure you click on your campaign and then go into ad groups. And then you can click on this blue button here to create a new ad group. So I'll just grab another one of my products. Let's say the dogs on blankets. I want to stick with the dog theme here for now. And I can just rename this dogs. Oops, let's see, dogs on blankets. And again, I'm going to skip over everything here. I'm going to skip creating the ad. And boom, we have our next ad group completed. So now that we've kind of organized our campaign into different ad groups, and you're going to want to create an ad group for every single one of your products. Once you do that, we need to go into actually doing our keyword research. For those of you who were in my presentation yesterday with SEO, I talked about this keyword research tool called the Keyword Planner, and that's exactly what we're going to be using today. So we're going to click on this tools and settings up here, and then all the way on the left in planning, we're going to go to Keyword Planner. And we're going to click on discover new keywords. And again, if you were in my presentation yesterday, I kind of talked about this a little bit, But essentially what we were wanting to do is we need to put ourselves in the shoes, or the socks in this case, of our customers. We need to try and figure out what are they searching for to try and find this type of a product, right? Now you may have specific nomenclature or technical terms that you use, day in and day out in your industry, but an end user may not know that, right? They may not know those terms. So we have to, again, think like our customers. What are they typing in order to find our specific product? So for instance, for this product here, we can put in, dog face socks. We can type in, put my dog's face on socks. We can do like dog photo socks. I'll even put the name of the product there, called Dogs on Socks. And I'll leave it at that for now. And then all you have to do is click on Get Results. Again, I'm trying to think about what that customer would be typing in to find this exact type of product. So once I click on Get Results, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up. We can see here we've got 396 keyword ideas. So one of the first things that I'll do is I'll come down here to the show rows, and I'll just put it to about 200, because we're going to have to do some scrolling here, and I don't want to have to hit next page every 10 keywords. The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these keywords by the highest average monthly search volume, and you do that just by clicking here. So now what this does is it orders all of the keywords relevant to what I had typed in, based on how many searches it gets on average per month. So we can see here, again, I'm in a very, very seasonal type of business, and we can see all the search volume really happens in November and December, and then it pretty much dies off in January. So these are really, these are the times that we need to increase our advertising, and we want to try and find the keywords that essentially tells me explicitly, hey, this customer, because they typed this in, they're looking specifically for the product that I can offer. Now, there are two different types of keywords, and I covered these again yesterday, but I'll just go over them again. We have short tail keywords, which are keywords with 1 or 2 words in them. They are usually pretty broad or general. They usually have a high search volume, but they have a low conversion rate because they are fairly broad. Whereas long tail keywords are usually three words or more. They have a much lower search volume, but because they are much more specific and descriptive, they have a much higher conversion rate. So what I want to do here, and I'm just going to kind of go through really quickly, think out loud as I choose my keywords, just to give you an understanding of what my thought process is, and why I would choose certain keywords over other keywords. So the first one here, dog socks, it could potentially be somebody looking for my product, but again, it's not specific enough, because this could be somebody looking for socks for their dogs, which is definitely not what I sell. So I'm going to skip this one. I don't want that, even though there's a high search volume for it. It's not specific enough for me. Puppy socks, again, it's not specific enough. I could potentially be losing some business by not going after this keyword, but I don't want to waste money on people who are looking for socks for their puppy. So I'm going to skip over that. Same thing with pet socks, dog socks with grips. Again, this is a very descriptive one, but it's not what I'm selling. So dog face socks, this is what I'm selling. So what I want to do is I want to click on this box, put a little check mark there, and then I just keep doing this over and over again until I probably find about 30 to 40 keywords that I like. So socks with dog face, yep. Non-slip dog socks, nope. Dogs on socks, yep, that's the name of the product. And then we get into some like dog ate socks, or my dog swallowed a sock, or things like this. We don't want our ad to show for that, right? Because it's not what we sell. These are people looking for medical advice because their dog swallowed a sock. So we don't want to waste our money on these types of keywords. So once you go through this list and just kind of keep in mind the keywords that you're not choosing and why you're not choosing them. But once you go through, you get a good number of keywords. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to this blue bar here, and where it says plan, we want to click on this and click on existing campaign. So the Black Friday campaign is the one that we just created. And because I'm looking specifically for the Dogs on Socks product, I'm going to click on that ad group. And then this next selection here is extremely important. So if we were just to hit add keywords, because this is set to broad match, even if we just have dog face socks, all of these keywords, our ad is going to show up for all of these keywords, even if we only have this one keyword selected. But because it's a broad match, essentially what you're telling Google is, hey, if anyone searches for something that includes the word dog or face or socks, I want to show my ad to them, right? So even though we're being super specific here, if you accidentally set broad match, you're going to pretty much show up for all of these different keywords. So instead, what we want to do is we want to set this to exact match. So an exact match keywords means we're telling Google, hey, we only want our ad to show up if they type this in exactly. I don't want to show up if they type something else in like dog socks with grips. I only want to show my ad for people typing in dog face socks or socks with dog face. And that's why we're selecting about 40 or 50 different keywords. Now, what Google will do is it will show your ads for keywords that are close variants, which means, hey, if they put in like dogs, DOGS face socks, it'll show up, or dog apostrophe S, it will still show up for that because it is a very close variant and it comes down to semantics. So it's an identical keyword. They just might be using, a dog apostrophe S. And so it'll show that to you inside of your search terms report. So you can go in there and you can see if you want to add that or if you want to add it as a negative keyword. So with that, we have our campaign selected, we have our ad group selected, we've selected exact match because we're being very specific with the keywords we want to show for. Then all we have to do is click add keywords. So essentially what this does is it does all the heavy lifting for us. It kind of knocks out two birds with one stone. We're doing our keyword research, and at the same time, we're adding all of these keywords to our campaign. This way, we're not stuck, trying to type out every single one of those keywords that we want to use. So that's why we wait until now, and we skipped over the keyword section. We waited until now to use the keyword planner in order to add in all those keywords. So next, we need to look at some negative keywords. So there are some things that I absolutely don't want to show up for. Some of them including, dog ate sock or dog swallowed sock, right? So I'm going to go back out to my my active campaign right now, and I'm going to go into the negative keywords. So you click on your campaign here. You can click on the ad group, and then under keywords, we're going to go to negative keywords. So here, what you can see is that I've got a few single words here. So ate, eat, swallowed, toy. During my keyword research, people were looking for sock toys for their dogs, or like dog sock toys, things like that. And so I don't want my ads to show up for any search query that has these words in it. Because I don't give medical advice. I'm trying to sell socks, right? So this is just an added sort of backup to ensure that our ads are not going to be showing up for people looking for help because their dog ate a sock. Now, in this case, we are doing broad match because I want any search query that, even if it has, dog's face on socks, but if this says ate, like dog ate my, dog socks with its face on it, I don't want that to show up. Now this one here, I put an exact match. So because we had dogs on socks, Google, with its close variant, may think, hey, well, somebody typed in dogs in socks, so maybe it was a typo. And it could potentially show your ad for this search query because it's very, very, very close to the other keyword that we had. However, in this particular case, I don't want to waste money on people looking for pictures of dogs wearing socks, right? So you can see there's a lot of little nuances in here that you can get into, but it's really important that you actually take the time to think about this and set this up properly. That way you waste as little of your budget as possible on people who definitely are not going to buy your products. So next we need to actually create the ads. So we're gonna come back in here into my active campaign just to show you. So what you would do, actually, if I go into the one that we created, you go into your ad group, and then we're gonna go to ads and extensions, and it should come up with the ads here. So we're gonna click either here on responsive search ad, or you're gonna click here on this bubble and click responsive search ad. And just to show you what the ad that I'm currently running looks like. And this is another reason that we waited until now to actually create the ads instead of doing it when we set up our campaign, is because we need to have the keywords that we're trying to advertise to before we can actually make the ad. And the reason for this is when we come down here to create our headlines, we need to make sure that we're including our keywords. And what's really nice about this is that the second line up here, it says include popular keywords in your headlines. There's a little link here that says view ideas. So if I click on this, it will actually show me all the keywords that I'm trying to target. And as I create my headlines, I can see which keywords I'm targeting with that specific headline. And because we're using responsive search ads, what Google does is it takes that user's search query and then it shows them the header or this headline that corresponds to the keyword that they typed in. So Google's actually automatically choosing the best content for your ad based on the keyword that the user typed in. So this allows you to really reinforce the fact that, hey, you searched for this one thing and our ad says, hey, we can give you that exact same thing. So up here on the top, we have the final URL. So this is where you're actually sending people that click on the ad. And the probably the biggest cardinal sin that I see being committed with users who make ads is that they actually send their traffic to a home page. Now, if a user's dead set on buying, let's say, one of my socks, right? So our ad is for the dogs on socks. If they're looking specifically for, hey, I want to put your dog's face on socks or my dog's face on socks. They see my ad. It has all this verbiage. It's exactly what they want. But then, I send them to this page here. Well, what happens is they can get a little confused or they get a little bit lost. They might start shopping around and looking, and then they forget to buy, right? But we don't want that. We want to send them directly to the product page that we're advertising for, because we want to make the customer journey as short as possible. You see, we're trying to capitalize on that sort of impulse buy. And so if we're sending them to the home page and they start to browse around, we're going to lose their interest. They're going to lose interest in buying that kind of that moment of oh, I'm ready to buy. That impulse kind of passes. And so you end up losing that customer. But by sending them directly to the product page, it's exactly what they're looking for. It's the reason they clicked on your ad. So send them to the page so that it just makes it as seamless as possible and as quick as possible to get them to actually purchase your product. So that's why, so what I'll do is I'll just go to my product page, just copy that URL and then paste the URL in there. Next is the display path. So again, this is just sort of reinforcing that the idea that, hey, you typed in something and we can provide exactly that. So again, this ad is all about this particular product. And so I'm going to kind of, put that up here in this URL. So you can see that here. You don't have to put anything there, but if your domain name isn't like super explicit about that product, what I like to do is just kind of put a very, 14, 15 characters long on what that product is. And if it's a little bit too long, you can break it up. So you can put, let's say like socks, and then you can put like dogs or something like that. And so it would show up like this. Again, you're just trying to reinforce with the user that, hey, I got exactly what you're looking for. And then we kind of talked about the headlines already. Again, you just want to make sure that you're targeting your different keywords with these headlines. And then you can put in your description. So these are kind of like your elevator pitches for your products. These are like the features of your products. So we have about 90 characters that we can put in here. And so you just want to make it, this is kind of like your selling points for the product. So once you've actually made the ad, you click on this blue button here that says save and create ad extensions. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go back. Yes, leave. And then from here, I'm gonna go into the ads and extensions and come down to extensions. And we can see here, I've already got some extensions created. When you want to create an extension, you just come up here to this blue bubble and click. And then we have all these different extensions that we can use. Now, the 3 extensions that I use for e-commerce is going to be the site link extensions, which we can see here, call out extensions, and promotion extensions. So the site link extensions, essentially this allows you to add more pages of your website to the ad itself. And what I like to do is I like to take this moment to try to cross-sell or even upsell on particular products. So here I just have a couple other products. Again, because they're searching for putting their dog's face on socks specifically, there's no reason for me to put cats on socks because they're searching specifically for dogs. So I want to keep it within that category. So we have the blankets, the masks, puzzles, and mugs. And just to show how to create these, if I come up here, do site link extensions, you can come in here, you can create the site link text. So, let's say this was dogs on blankets. And then you would just type in, a little description about this. You get 2 descriptions. And then the final URL is going to be the actual URL for that page. Again, if they're searching for the socks, but then they say, oh, you do blankets too, let me go check out the blankets instead. For me, that's an upsell. So I make more money off of that. So that's fine with me. Because then they can still go back and they can still look at the socks themselves. So you want to go through here, just add as many site links as you want. It doesn't have to be to other products. I mean, you could do like the About Us page that links to your About page. You can do, let's say, shipping information. You could do track your order. There's so many different ways that you can use the site link extension. But personally, I'll use that opportunity to try to upsell my customers. So let me go back into the site link extensions here. So the next one is the call out extensions. And this is essentially, if you were here for our week 1 presentation where Jack talked about the SWOT analysis, so that's strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. And in order to create our unique selling proposition, which is the USP, we had to take a look at our strengths or our S words. And this is essentially, again, where we're going to use those S words, our strengths, right? So these could be the S words for the company as a whole, or they could be S words for the product specifically. So I use this to just say, hey, it's printed in the USA, fast shipping, supreme comfort, vibrant print, 1 to 2 days production time. Again, these are kind of like bullet points, but these are the strengths of your product or your company. And then the last thing is the promotion extension. This one can be very, very powerful. And I'm going to show you sort of how you can use this to create the FOMO effect, or the fear of missing out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to the promotion and I'm going to click on the bubble to create a new one. So what I like to do here, we have occasion. So if it's a Black Friday specific sale, we can click on Black Friday and it'll have that really nice and thick and bold. We can set if it's a monetary discount, so you can say, $10 off, or you can put a percentage discount, say 20% off. So the item that we're selling here, again, we're setting this up for our specific advertisement that's all about the dogs on socks, right? So what I would do is I'd say 20% off, let's say all custom socks, right? So what this tells the customers, oh, their Black Friday deal, you get 20% off all custom socks. That's great. You can put in a final URL here. You don't have to because it's still part of the ad here. So if they click on the ad, they're going to the product page anyway. So we don't really need that final URL. And then we have promotion details. So if you want to give them the discount only on orders over, let's say like $100, it'll add that in there. Or if they have to use a promo code, then they have to, copy this and paste it. Personally, I don't like to use promo codes. I like to just make it as simple as possible for the end user to buy my stuff. So that's why if I'm going to have a sale, instead of having a coupon or a promo code, I'm just going to do a store-wide sale. So it's just there. It just makes it a lot easier for the end user, and it avoids the whole, oh, I bought I bought this product and I forgot to use the promo code. Can you still give me the discount? And then you're stuck with a hard choice. Okay, do I refund them the money for the discount, which usually if you do too many refunds, your payment processor doesn't like that. Or you aggravate the customer and be like, well, you didn't put it in, so you don't get the discount. Usually the better way to go is just to give them, say, oh, okay, no worries, we'll discount it, we'll refund you the amount for the discount or whatever. But either way, it's kind of a lose-lose for you. So that's why I try to get away from the promo code and just do a straight up discount on the website. But I'm gonna hit none here. And again, this is where I was talking about you can use that sort of FOMO, the fear of missing out. So there's a tactic that you can use with these. So let's say I know that I'm going to have this discount on my website all the way through the end of the year, but my customers don't know that. So to try and increase my sales, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an end date. So I'm going to select a date here, and let's say it's the calendar is not showing up. Okay. So what is the date today? So it's the 11, let's say 18. All right. Well, the calendar is broken right now.
Today is the 18th.
Yeah. So you can set the 18th here. Let me just go ahead and refresh and see if that fixes it. Again, sometimes you run into these UI issues with Google. Most of the time refreshing the page fixes it. I run into these all the time. So if you ever have an issue like this, don't worry, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just the user interface bugs out sometimes. There we go. All right, occasion Black Friday. We'll say 20% off all custom socks. And we'll do select the date. There it is. So let's say, maybe you want the end date to be today. So when this goes live, your users who see this go, oh crap, this discount ends today. I need to get to that website and buy this because it's not going to be 20% off tomorrow. Now you already know, hey, this discount's running until the end of the year, but again, your customers don't know that. So you can use this extension to get that fear of missing out on this great deal. It does require a bit of work, because then you have to come in here every day and set it to the next day and save it, and then come back in and set it to the next day. It gets a little tedious, but it does work. It does increase conversions. So if you do, if you decide you want to do that, feel free to. I've used it a couple times in the past, and I have seen some decent increase in my conversion rates. But the promotion extension in itself is a very powerful tool to add on to your advertisements. So next, we're going to look at creating conversion actions. Okay, so this is going to be the one thing in this tutorial that you will probably not be able to do yourself. And the reason for this is because it does require being comfortable around code and knowing how to code, specifically PHP. So I usually recommend, if you're trying to do this yourself, this is the one thing that I would say, hey, go to a web developer, go to somebody who knows how to program and ask for their help, because Google's not very helpful about this. Even trying to just search online on how to figure this out, there's really not a lot of help out there. But I'm going to still go through that process to hopefully show you, how it should be done. So what we're going to do, and it's not a necessity. You don't have to do this in order to have a successful campaign, but it does help. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to tools and settings, and we want to go to measurement and then conversions. And then we want to click on create new conversion action. And we want to click on website because we want to track our website sales. And from here, for the goal category, this is going to be a purchase. We can name our conversion here. So we can do, you can just call this purchase or purchases. I already have conversion actions named this, so I can't actually do that. So I'll just do web conversions, sales maybe. Just name it something that makes sense to you. And then what we want to do, because not all of our products, all of our products do not cost the same. All the products are different pricing. So we want to use different values for each conversion. As a default value, what I'll do is I'll just put the minimum purchase possible on our website. For me in particular, it's about $19.98. And then for the count, we want to record every single purchase that is made coming from a Google ad. So essentially what this means is that if a user clicks on your ad, comes to your website, buys something, and then comes back another time within this 30 days from initially clicking on your ad, it will also count that as a conversion. So you can end up getting multiple conversions from a single user. So I want to make sure that this is clicked because, hey, if somebody's coming back to our website multiple times to buy stuff, I definitely want Google to try and find more people like that. So from there, what you're going to do is hit create and continue. And this is where the technical part comes in, right? So you can install the tag yourself. You can either email the tag to a web developer or somebody that you trust to actually implement this code, or you can use Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager was created to help make this sort of thing easy, but then they made the whole process extremely complex and just overly complex to the point where your average user will never be able to figure it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the tag myself. Now, if you're already using Google Analytics, you've already got it integrated into your account and everything. That's pretty much what this does. It just connects your Google Ads account to your website, and you just want to copy and paste this into your header. So if you have a WordPress website, you're running WooCommerce, super simple. You just go into your theme editor, and there's usually somewhere in the theme settings, there's a place to put in tracking code or integration code. There's a slew of plugins to help you integrate that code as well. Personally, I use Google Sitekit. It's made by Google specifically for WordPress to help you integrate your Google Analytics, your Google Search Console, your Google Ads account. So if you have a WordPress site, I highly recommend installing Sitekit by Google because then it also shows all of your stats on the dashboard. The hard part is this event snippet. See, because right off the bat, it just seems like, okay, it says copy the snippet below and paste it between the head tags of the pages you want to track, right? So we're tracking our page loads, which means I want to put this code only on our checkout thank you page. So essentially the page that a user gets sent to after they make the purchase, right? So in WooCommerce, it's called the WooCommerce thank you page. And that's where I have to insert this script. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. So in WordPress, what we have to do is we actually have to go under Appearance, Theme Editor, and then we have to go to our functions.php file. So this right here is what Google said that we had to paste into our website here, but yet this is the entire code that we actually have to put in order to make this work properly. So again, it's super complex. It's not very straightforward. If you're not comfortable with this, I highly suggest that you find a web developer to do this for you. But essentially what we have to do here is I created a function that pulls the order information. And then in this script here, which is the script that Google sent me, I then had to grab these variables from, I'm pulling this information from the order page, and then I am putting it into the Google code here. So I'm grabbing the order ID number, and I'm also grabbing the total amount of that sale. And then this last bit here, this is what actually adds it to the WooCommerce thank you page. So the first one is the page that we're putting it into. The second one is the function, which I just described above. So that's how you actually make it work. Again, if you just paste this onto your website, it's not going to work properly. So again, if you're not comfortable doing something like that by yourself, just find a web developer to do it for you. It should only take about 30 minutes. It's not that hard for somebody who understands the code. So I would highly recommend that. And what that allows you to do too is it allows you to track, if I come back here, it will actually track the conversions for you. It will tell you how much revenue your Google ads have actually generated. So it's a very powerful tool to let you know how well your ads are performing without having to guess, oh, did this person come from an ad? Did this person come from an ad? So it just makes it super, super simple. The other thing that allows us to do is it then allows us to eventually change our bid strategy from maximize clicks to the maximize conversions, right? Because now we have this data set. We've been tracking these conversions. We know, hey, we've got 17 tracked conversions for this 1 week. So you know what? Now I'm feeling kind of more comfortable letting Google focus more on trying to get more conversions for my budget than just trying to gather some data. So the way that I would do that is I would go to my campaign. So let's say my primary campaign here. I would go into my campaign settings once this loads. And then right here, let's see. So we are using, oh, it's down here in bidding, excuse me. So I'll cancel this. So inside of our bidding here, we can change our bid strategy to, instead of clicks, we want to do conversions. And then here, what we can do is we can have a target cost per action. So essentially what we're telling Google is, hey, I want to spend $4 per sale, right? So what Google's going to do is it's going to try to, you're still going to have to pay for every click, but what you're telling Google is, hey, we have all the data now in my campaign with all of these sales. Try to match those types of people, and I want to pay $4 every time I get a conversion. You know, so it could be $4, it could be $6. But essentially, what you want to do is you got to figure out, hey, what is your production costs for your product? What are your shipping costs for your? So essentially, what is your net profit on that product or on a sale? And then how much of that net profit are you willing to spend to actually get that sale? So I can tell you right now, on average, my net profit when I sell an item is around $11, $12. And so I'm okay spending, let's say, $4 or $5 to get a sale, because of the fact that, you know, for the most part, sure, it's only one item sales, but I do get about 20 to 30% of my sales where people actually buy more than one product. So by setting this target CPA, again, we're just kind of telling we're telling Google, hey, we're willing to spend this much money in order to get a sale. And that's why the conversion tracking is kind of really important. Again, it's not necessary. You can still have a super successful campaign. Again, because I'm only using clicks right now. I'm still using clicks. And I'm probably averaging just from this one ad campaign, again, at $8.50 a day, I'm getting anywhere between 22 to 30 sales per week just from this one ad. So I'm more than happy with the bidding strategy that I'm using on that right now. And then the last thing that we're going to take a look at is how to further optimize our campaign with advanced bid adjustments. So advanced bid adjustments, if I go into my overview here, we'll go into the ad group just to be more specific here. We can see that we've got, let's see. So here's our search terms here. These are, if I go into my search terms, and again, I have to refresh the page. So the search terms essentially show us what people are typing in, where our ads are showing up. So the search terms here, they're different than our search keywords. They show, hey, someone typed in custom dog socks. You don't have that in your account, but it's a close variant of an exact match. And I have a 35% click-through rate on this one keyword. So this might be a keyword that I actually want to add to my account. And you can kind of come through here and add new keywords. If you see something that really shouldn't be there, you can even click on it and add as a negative keyword to make sure you're not showing up for that anymore. And then if we go back to the overview, let's look at, let's say, demographics, right? So if I'm going to go into my gender and ages here to see who's actually clicking on my ads. And so we can see here that we've got mostly, if I do it by clicks, mostly female for the most part. We can see their household income. So we can see there's a lot in the sort of top 10% here, 11 to 20%. And I can even increase this here. So again, what this, by doing advanced bid adjustments, I can actually increase my bids based on specific demographics or even locations. So if I come back here, let's see. So let's just go into locations real quick. So I'm going to click on locations, and it is just not liking me today. We got refresh to fix that. And again, the advanced bid adjustments that we're doing is really just to fine tune our ad campaign. So if I click on, because we're targeting the entire country, it's just going to show up for the US here. So I can click on the United States. Let's say I want to see what states are performing the best, right? And again, when you actually have conversion tracking enabled, it's going to tell you, hey, these states have a much higher conversion rate than other states. So maybe I want to increase my bid amounts for those specific states and decrease my bid amounts for states that just really aren't working that well for me. And of course, you know, when we're in a live setting, it decides it doesn't want to work. So let's just give this a second to see if it will load. There it goes. So we can see here, if I go to, let's say, conversion rate, we have, let's see, Idaho has 100% conversion rate. So everybody who's visited my website from this state in this week, in this particular week, has purchased from us. Same thing for all of these. So maybe what I want to do is I want to add a bid adjustment to New York. So I can click on this, I can edit, I can add targets and set bid adjustments. So what this allows me to do is I can increase or decrease my my spend essentially inside of that specific state. So right now my average cost per click is about $1.04. So maybe I want to increase this a little bit more to, I don't know, maybe like $1.20 or something. So I can increase this by 20%. So example, a $10 bid will become $12. So again, what this does is it just allows me to allocate more of my budget to specific states that are performing a lot better than, let's say, states that are not performing so well. So let's go to, let's say, my click-through rate, right? So I want to see who are my lowest click-through rates. So Arizona, I've only had one impression, but there's not much there. You know, District of Columbia, DC, I've had 4 impressions and no clicks. So maybe people there just really aren't interested in my socks. So again, I can click on this. I can apply that. I don't want to do that right now though. Let me deselect New York. So for DC, again, I can go in, I can decrease this and I can do 100%, right? So basically I'm decreasing my bid to 0 because I don't want my ads to show up for this state. You know, I can even go back to my locations and I can edit the location to actually just completely remove this state if I don't want to advertise for this anymore. Other places where you can do advanced bid adjustments are things like day and hour. So if I look here, I can, you know, if I know based on the data that, hey, I'm usually getting, you know, a bunch of sales in, I don't know, between the afternoon or, you know, maybe, you know, it's from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to about 11 o'clock at night. And then I'm not doing very well in the early mornings. So from 2 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, no one's actually buying. I'm spending money on clicks, but no one's buying at that time. So I can actually go in there again, do the same thing, use advanced bid adjustments to kind of tweak my spending during those times so I can allocate more of my budget to where people are actually buying and reduce my budget when people are no longer buying at those times. So with that, I think we're at the 1 hour mark. So I'll go ahead and stop it here. Hopefully this was in depth enough for you guys to go out there and create your own successful campaigns. At this time, I'll send it back over to Diane. She'll do the closing slides and then we'll do the Q&A.
That sounds like a plan, Jeremy. That was a lot of information. It makes me respect the people that we pay to do this a lot more, because it's not just a little click here and a little click there. You really have to know what you're doing, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let me bring this up. Okay, so this, as we said, was part 3 of 5. We have 2 more parts coming up. December 1st, identifying your potential customers and targeting them with Facebook. And the following Wednesday, effective digital marketing channels. The last one, of course, it has nothing to do with marketing, but we decided to put in a skills class on using LinkedIn to build your network. If you're interested in signing up for any of these, go to our website, minnesota.score.org. Here's our website, and all you have to do is click on Take a Workshop and find those. If you want to volunteer, maybe you think that you can help businesses, absolutely. Click on volunteer and we will get back to you and see if you're a good fit for us. If you want to find a mentor, click on find a mentor and put in your information and you'll be paired with a mentor. Check out our other workshops and meetups. We have podcasts and business scorecard articles, templates, tools, and so much information available. Just go to our website and click around. You'll be amazed by it. Your homework is to visit Strategizer, and you will be getting this video. So if you're not doing a screen capture and you don't have these available to you, that's okay. You will be getting a copy of this video and you'll be able to go through it. Set up a meeting with your Minnesota Score mentor. That is so important. Don't do it alone. There's no reason to do it. So I want to thank you all for coming. You are going to be getting a survey. Please fill in the survey because we want to know what can we do to improve this. It's hard to imagine that Jeremy's presentation could be improved, but if you think it can be, please let us know how. What other topics are you interested in? We're always trying to find topics that would be of interest to you. So without further ado, let's go into our Q&A. Glenwood is asking, where on the keyword page can we find the conversion rates for each word?
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen again real quick.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing.
Alrighty. So in order to find the conversion rates for each one of our keywords, we have to go into our campaign here. We can go specifically into our ad group, and then we can come in here to the keyword sections. Let's see if we go into search terms. I'll go search keywords. I have to refresh again. But it should be just a column somewhere on the right-hand side where it shows the actual conversion rate. Again, this will only show up if you have the conversion tracking set up properly. So we can see over here for the first week of this campaign, these are the keywords that we're targeting here. And then this is how many conversions we got for that keyword and also the conversion rate. So if I just kind of put this here for our conversion rate, we can see that, you know, dog picture on socks has 100% conversion rate. So 6 people clicked on that link and then we had 6 people buy. So that has 100% conversion rate. Dog picture socks again has 100% conversion rate. And it also tells us what the cost per conversion was. So this can also give you an idea when you set up the conversion tracking, you start getting purchases, you start getting these conversions. When you go to tell Google, hey, I'm willing to pay X amount of money per CPA or cost per action, when we're changing our bid strategy, you can use this information here to say, well, hey, my average cost per conversion is only $4.21. So that's what I should expect to get out of that same thing. But ideally, if we're optimized for conversions, we should be, you know, this number should actually be a lot lower. That's the theory behind it. Sometimes it, you know, well, rarely does it ever work the way you wish it to. So, you know, if you find something that works, stick with it, right? So what I would do is if I did switch over to conversion and target a CPA, and if I see I'm spending like double this, because it said it recommends $8.50 for cost per action. Well, I can see here right now it's $4.20. So why would I spend double, you know, to get one sale? So if you do switch over and see that it's not working, you can always just revert back to the maximize click strategy.
I think this question may have been answered, came in early, but what are extensions?
Yep, so extensions are essentially just extra goodies that are added to the advertisement itself. So if I go back to the ads, I'll reshare my my screen here in just a moment.
Well, while that's coming up, there's another one. Do customers go back to your site and see that the extension of your sale continuing for a day each day? Do they get upset?
I mean, it's definitely possible. But the idea behind it is that, you know, if somebody comes to, you know, sees your ad, sees that, let's say if you have that promotion extension running and they see, oh man, it's ending today, let me go in and buy. You know, if they do come back to buy something else or they go to check on their status and they see that the sale is still live, Yeah, there's always going to be the potential for the customer to be upset. So, it's always up to the seller's discretion on how they want to use that feature. Um, and it just comes down to your own preferences if you want to use that feature that way or not. But yeah, there is the possibility for customers to potentially get upset with that.
Okay, we have two questions I think I'm going to combine.
Mhm.
Warren said, would you do a separate campaign for each of your products or just your top one or two to bring people to your site? And Tanisha also said, I have a medical supply store. Would I have to add individual product groups for all 150 products?
Those are both good questions. I'll answer them a little bit differently. So the first one, do you have to create separate campaigns for each product? No. So what I do is I have in my primary account, I've got a ton of campaigns, but usually they're different marketing campaigns. So for instance here, I've got this is just like a general sort of search sales campaign. And in here, I'm only running an ad for one product, again, just for demonstration purposes today. But normally what I would do is something like I started here with Black Friday. I've got, again, this campaign is specifically about Black Friday. So even though I'm targeting the exact same products in my other ones, this is going to have verbiage specifically about Black Friday and Black Friday sales. Whereas this other campaign here is just a more general campaign just about the products themselves. So the way that I do it, campaigns are based on the marketing campaign. So it could be Black Friday sales, it could be Cyber Monday sales, it could be Valentine's Day sales, it could be any number of holiday sales that you're running, and then each of those advertisements will have that sort of holiday specific verbiage around it. As to the other question, if you have 150 products, do you have to create ad groups for each individual product? It depends. If let's say, if you've got medical products and let's say, you've got 10 different types of tubing, right? But they all, let's say they're just different diameters, but they're all for the same purpose. You can group those into the same ad group and just say, hey, these are medical tubing for this machine or medical tubing for this purpose. So it really just comes down to what the product is. Obviously 150 products, if they're all completely separate to each other, like they're different machines that have very specific uses, you can't really combine them, then ideally, yes, you would have ad groups for every single individual item. Because again, that allows you to be very specific with the keywords that you're targeting for people looking for that product. And the last thing that you want to do is create an ad that's very generic. So you can have a generic ad that says, hey, we're a medical supply store. But if somebody is searching specifically for a product, you would still want to create an ad group with an ad under that for that specific product. That way it's like, hey, they know exactly what they want. You have what they need. They don't want to have to, see an ad that's too generalized and think, oh, well, it's a medical supply store, but do they have exactly what I'm looking for? Whereas if you have an ad for every single one of your products, then it's going to show up to that user. It's going to be super specific. Again, and the way that I have it set up today was just to be as specific as possible. I wanted to be as detailed as possible because I wanted to make my budget be used as efficiently as possible. So usually the way it goes is the more generic and general or broad your ads are, the lower your click-through rate is going to be, which means you're going to be, wasting a lot of money, and your ads aren't really relevant to what people are searching for. So it's really a case-by-case basis. I personally prefer to do it the very, very, honed in way, a very specific way. But this isn't like the one and only way to do it. It's just the way that I like to do it.
And following up on that, Warren is saying, is it ever worth the investment to do a general campaign? For example, would you ever do a campaign for something like customized clothing?
Yes, and so with this, I mean, my business here is pretty much a custom clothing, we sell socks. And so when I say the general campaign, basically what that means is these are the ads that I'm running year round. So they're not specific to any holiday, to any discounts or anything. I'm just trying to target people in general who are looking for this exact product. Now, eh, again, like I said, I like to be as specific as possible because I like to use my money as efficiently as possible. I want to get the biggest ROI. And the only way that you can really do that is by digging in and actually doing very specific campaigns. So personally, as far as the general, um, as far as running a general campaign, that's what I mean by that. As in, it's a campaign that's not tied to a specific holiday. It's just one that runs year round.
Okay, and last question. What amount should one start on? I think what Helen maybe is asking is, how much should you bid to start?
So as far as budgets go, and this is a question that I get a lot, how much money should I budget for ads? And honestly, the answer is put as much money as you're comfortable putting in. You could put in, as I would recommend, a minimum of, $200, $250. But really it's just how much you're comfortable investing. If you follow the steps that I showed you today, you should get an okay ROI. You should have really good performance. Of course, that it varies widely depending on your industry and the way that you set it up and everything. There are going to be variances there, but essentially the process that I showed you today is there to just help you create the most optimized and the most efficient campaign that you possibly can, even on a tight budget.
One last question just came in. Is there a site where it shows you what industries invest in ads?
I mean, I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't just every single industry. I can't think of an industry that wouldn't benefit from ads. I mean, even nonprofits get grants from Google to have free ad spend, to try and generate traffic to their cause. So any type of industry you're in, whether you're a service-based company, you're a product company, you're a B2B, B2C, whatever it is, I mean, ads is going to be one of the primary channels for you to generate initial traffic to your website and to try and get some initial sales. If you're a service-based business, again, it's a great way. You would do everything exactly the same as I did today, only instead of setting up your ad groups as products, you would set up your ad groups as services. Otherwise, it's completely identical. But I honestly can't think of an industry that wouldn't benefit from investing in an advertising campaign.
All right, that was the last question. I think you're off the hook, Jeremy. Again, an amazing presentation. It's so overwhelming. I'm so happy that people are going to be getting a copy of this and they'll be able to then watch it and go step by step, take some notes or follow along with you, pause it and follow along. I thank you. Super thanks. People are saying, I think they're quite appreciative. This has been great and helpful is another comment. So again, we look forward to seeing you and Jack next week and the following week as well. Thank you, Jeremy.
And thank you, Diane.
Bye-bye. Good night. Good night, all.